It feels weird that we're seeing each other face to face.
Yeah. You're all the way from Penang, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm all
Out
the way
of
from
nowhere,
Penang.
tiba-tiba Haikal ada dekat. Mana kita kat ni sekarang?
Kita dekat, I don't know where we at.
I don't know. Dekat, tak tahu.
Let's just say it's a secret location where we're recording this episode right now.
Okay,
Right?
boleh.
Yep.
Hari ni punya episode pasal apa?
So after for so long that we're not posting any episodes, today we come back for, you can say a comeback. You can say comeback, is it?
Comeback?
Not really lah.
Boleh
Dah
lah.
lama juga lah. It's been 1 month we haven't posted anything. But yes, today we are starting our new mini series called A Hope for a New Malaysia, Kuasa Rakyat. Yes, this actually has been, we've been planning this for quite a while actually. Since 2021, like the end of 2021.
Haikal has really been pushing this, betul?
Yes, I've been really pushing this. Ataupun nanti next time kau punya project Haziq.
Boleh.
Okay. So if you guys don't know what this mini series is all about, this mini series is technically a mini series to help you understand what voting, democracy, and what the scenario is in Malaysian politics, right? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of young people are interested in it, but just don't know where to start, or they're just really, you don't even have any clue what everything is going, right?
Betul.
Right. So
Ramai-ramai yang macam ni lah. Oh, saya tak boleh vote.
boleh vote
Sana lah dah vote ni.
Betul. So today we brought some specialists, you can say, in this field, right?
Okay.
They're the ones that passed the Undi 18. Well, one of them did. One is a youth activist. Okay. One of them did. And today we're going to invite none other Tharma Pillai from Undi 18 and Nurul Rifayah from, she's not from, a youth activist. Please welcome. All right. Hey, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So first of all, thank you for coming. Tharma and Rifayah, is a really big honor. Don't worry about the people. They'll usually come in later throughout the scenes. We're a bit slow in this part, but yeah, people will come. Don't worry. Right. So first of all, yes, thank you for coming, and it's a big pleasure. I think this is Tharma's second time coming on the podcast. This is Tharma's second time, right? And this is Rifayah's first time on the podcast. Rifayah, have you ever been on a podcast before?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, really? In what podcast?
One about education. It is under, if I'm not mistaken, just led by NGO, youth NGO.
Is she lagging or we're lagging? We're lagging.
So, what is it lah? Wait, hold on. Let me say. It was like Sembang Sampai Terbang. It's like a podcast.
Oh, Sembang Sampai Terbang. Whoosh.
Yeah. It's,
What a name.
For education. So education reform. Yep. So it's like my first podcast. And second podcast wait, hold on. Wait, I can't remember the other one. It's about Undi 18 as well.
It's about Undi 18 as well. Right. Okay, you do have some experience on this on being in a podcast, right? Okay, that's pretty cool. Right? So before we interview our special guest for today, right? I think let's give the audience a brief, introduction of who they are and what they do on a daily basis, right? I think we should start with Tharma because he has literally his occupation Undi 18 in his name.
Siapa lagi nak introduce diri sendiri lebih baik daripada diri
Kan.
sendiri kan?
Betul?
Okay. Take it away. Let's go.
Wait, so the question is that what do I do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a Undi 18 punya ni.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, I think that the kind of things that we do in Undi 18. Firstly, thanks for having us. And I think it's always a pleasure to have conversations with Haziq and Haikal. I think the kind of work that we do right now, really, after we've passed the amendment, and also we've implemented it. Of course, last year was a big challenge in getting it implemented, bringing it to court, doing a series of protests, trying to convince and work together with key stakeholders, including Dato' Sri Reza American, YB Dato' Sri Peja, right? So I think these are key stakeholders that we're working on. So this year we are focused more on I think programs and also our elections. So of course with programs we have a key agenda where we want to be able to build more conscious, educated, informed youth voters. we also want to make sure that there are more young leaders and young activists out there who are able to lead, who are able to speak out, who are able to be the voice of their generation and of course key issues. I think these are things that are important. So I think a big part of our programs are dedicated towards that. So we have programs like Day One Muda Malaysia. Previous we had Fellow Parliament. We had programs such as Siri Kandi. So I think the idea of all these programs fundamentally is in order for us to achieve that goal, which is to build more young leaders and to build an educated young population. The last part that we focus on is on elections. So I think my camera just got a little bit blurry. Just 1 second, yeah.
Yeah, you can see. Okay.
All right, yeah. Sorry,
Okay,
just
there.
needed to, yeah, turn it on, turn it off again. Yeah, the last part, of course, that we're working on is towards elections. So I think we're working with a few organizations, a few parties, to be able to mobilize effectively towards, towards elections. As we know that elections has a very high chance of happening sooner rather than later, right? I think expectations is that it might even be September, October, might even be in August, right? And I think these are the variables that we have to contend with and we have to accept. So for us, we have to ensure that one, youth participation is high to make sure that the not only the Undi 18 cohort comes out, but young people as a whole, right? From an electoral perspective, young people is categorized as people who are between the ages of 18 to 40 years old. So I think these are important. And of course, in terms of numbers, because of the Undi 18 bill, we've had an increase of 5.8 million new voters into the electoral system as
That is a
of
lot of
January
people.
That is a
15th
lot.
this year. And this additional 5.8 million people are mostly young people. So it means that the youth voter population is now 58% of the electorate. The majority of voters are now young people. So I think these are the key elements that are relevant, and it's something that we need to be able to work to make sure that the impact is there, that we are able to build a clear demand or a clear youth manifesto. We're able to then push political parties to fight and to be able to prioritize youth issues and youth-centric concerns, but also so that we have more youth representatives, youth politicians, we have more youth leaders. There is a transition between generations from those of the Merdeka generation up till our current generation, right? I think these are things that we are interested in fighting on. And I think this is the current work that we work on a day-to-day basis, of course. So yeah, I think that's all. Just a very brief intro from me. I'll pass it back to you guys.
Wow, that is a very
I think that was very detailed.
that was very detailed.
It was brief but very detailed. You
Very
can tell
brief.
he's a very good speaker.
Yeah, you can tell that the third speaker is like menjelma tiba-tiba kan.
Betul-betul
Bring him back to
semua
debate days, right?
Detail dia adalah semua complete. Faham? I understand a lot more about Undi 18 based off of that brief ni.
Kan, right.
Faham.
So that's really compact introduction, right? So now we know who Tharma is, right? She's like the founder, all that. But now we have a new face here,
Okay.
which is Rifayah,
Okay. Look,
right?
she's smiling.
She's smiling. She's ready, right? So Rifayah, why don't you give a little bit an introduction about yourself? I know that you stand out during SPM back in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. Why don't you give a little introduction about yourself and share us your voice.
Okay, I feel like a debate right now. Like Tarma was like, so it's like so they get everything is like, but yeah, he is what it is, right? It's Tarma Pillai.
Yeah.
So yeah, by the way, thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having Tarma and I into this podcast. So hi, my name is Nurul Rifayah. You can just call me Wave. I'm 19 years old. People call me youth activist, but sometimes I don't really know what actually I'm doing, and it's actually a journey. It's quite I would say a roller coaster journey. Especially when you involve it activism. Sometimes tomorrow you get called by IPD. In 2 weeks.
Yes.
Go to the bar, like you go, you need to go to Mahkamah or something. It's like, yeah, it's a wonderful journey for me. So actually, I started off my activism journey because of SPM issues, like what both of you mentioned just now. When during SPM 2020, it's actually the first time SPM where we need to start online, where the online classes actually started, and then we need to go to school just for the sake of papers, and then dah 3 kali India SPM that time, and I feel like it's like so frustrated because it's not fair for us to just go to school for the sake of papers, because like we are more much more important than just our work is like much more important compared to like
Mhm.
just for the sake of papers. And it's not fair. It doesn't make sense at all when you like, you need to learn biophysics and chemia by watching videos online, and like, teachers that's
Mhm.
links to you, and then you need to like memorize everything. And when it comes to paper 3 of the subject itself, you need to explain the one particular experiments, and
Ah,
you don't even do it, but you need to memorize everything by watching a video, and that's not fair. So for me, I think it's like, when I realized that there's so many students at that time having mental illnesses, and then there's like, going down to the depression, anxiety, and then that time I feel like macam, no one stand up for us and no one speak on behalf of us, and that's when I
mhm.
approached a few MPs and also a few parties to fight for me. But unfortunately, all of them feels like this is not something that they are worth to fight for. So that's when I decided to be in the activism, and that's when I spoke up about SPM issues, and I started by using social media. And yep, that's when I realized that Undi 18 is very important. Um, we, I mean, we should, I want to vote for my country because I don't want this kind of leaders going to continue to, untuk mentadbir
Mhm.
negara when,
Mantap lah.
we are suffering here and no one's actually try to, understand what's actually happening during back then. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so on 19th of April 2021, which is Tarma's birthday, it's actually our first time going to court. What a wonderful birthday, guys. Tarma,
Wow.
we went to
The icing
court.
on the cake.
Yeah, we went to the court, and that was like, the first thing that I think is Dato Abika told me, that if you lose this case, if you lose this case, you need to remember that in 10 years to come, if they can vote, the only 18, if those who are 18 to 20 can vote, it's actually because of you guys. So that time I feel like macam, kalau kita gagal hari ni pun doesn't mean we akan gagal selama-lamanya, and that's when I feel like macam, I don't feel bad, saman kerajaan. I don't need to feel bad that way, because actually I'm bringing something and I'm doing something. So yep, of course, like what Tarma mentioned just now, daripada we, only 18, we go to court, we go to streets, we go to parliament, and
Mhm.
we have done like so many things. I am proud to be with only 18 since like, since I was like 16, since only 18 is not only 18 a movement yet. It's just like Kia and Tarma, that's it. And
Mhm.
during that time, like Tarma so poyo. Oh, I want to do
Uh,
only it. I want to go through the only it is going to implement. I was like, okay. It's not bad time. When I'm 18 years old, I actually the one of the frontliner for ODT. I feel like, yeah, I get it what Tarma said years ago. So like, yeah. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And currently, I'm working with education reform, working closely with Solidarity Pendidikan, and also like
wow.
working with a few NGOs for education. So like, yeah, we're focusing on SPM mostly, but at the same time, I will work closely with Undi 18 as well, and we are trying our best to promote politic education in schools specifically, because we
Yes,
don't
I
have any
think
school education. So yeah, that's all about me.
Mantap
mantap
lah.
lah. Uish.
Our guests are like
I don't know what to say,
bukan
man.
taling-taling ah.
Itulah. I still don't know how we even get these people sometimes, you know.
I'm so honored to be talking to these people.
Imagine, right, from someone who like very poyo to cover like someone who every day keluar awani, right? So I'm sorry for mom, but yeah, it is what it is.
We got some insight also how termasuk
Yeah,
masyarakat.
we get to see those little insights that we never knew.
How?
Deeping down some secrets.
Like
But yeah, I should thank to Sarma because I know not because of Tama, I don't think that I will be here lah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
not that really. Okay, no, I'm kidding. Yeah.
But overall, I mean, you guys are doing amazing stuff at a very young age, considerably young age, right? One is 19, and the one that started. You started Udi 18 at around age 20 plus, right? Like your mid 20s. Am I correct, Palma?
I was 23 when I started it. Yeah.
Or 23. Man, that's a long journey.
Yeah.
That is a long journey.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. Back in 2000 and 2016, that means, yeah.
2016. Okay, I see. That's when we were still in high school back then.
It was still in high school.
We were still
And
in-
Rifayah in 2016, how old are you?
She was a year younger than me.
Oh, she's a year younger than you.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I'm 20. She's 19.
Oh, faham,
Yeah.
faham. It's like pretty cool. I think this is how it feels lah. So before this kan, cakap podcast, usually macam we would usually invite people yang older than us. We started
I started 18. You started 19.
okay. So like macam bila orang datang kan, dia orang cakap kan, dia orang cakap, oh power lah korang ni, macam muda-muda buat macam ni. But now like kita orang lagi tua daripada Rif kan. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think this is how they felt lah. Macam
Oh.
kita sama dia macam lagi muda tapi macam power tu. Yeah.
Kan. Oh my god, right. Honestly, I'm really excited to talk to them today, right?
Betul.
Yes, to Lupa and just casually have fun in today's conversation.
Okay.
Because not only we're talking about voting, but we're also talking about young people today, specifically young people, right? Okay. So before we introduce the questions, right? So for those viewers who are looking out there, remember, so today, Jom Ah Lepak is a podcast where we just lepak, right? Okay, so we're just gonna have fun and chill with us. So if you have any questions to ask, feel free to ask them down in the comments, right? We will love to see them. We will love any engagement that you guys want to see, right? And yeah, so without further ado, let's proceed to the questions, right? So Haziq, do you wanna start asking the questions, or you want me to ask?
I think you just ask the first question first.
Okay, right. So I think these are three interesting, I think very basic and very, and I think really important questions to ask, right? Considering that I think not many young people know that they can actually vote, or maybe they don't know the weight of voting, right? Okay, so let's start with the first question of the day, right? So the three questions. Number one, which is, since you guys are invested in vote for advocating young people, right? Why do you see young people? Why do you see that you should invest in young people despite how inexperienced they are in a democracy? That's number one. Okay, number two, so how important is youth representation in politics, and how will it change the current state of Malaysia of Malaysia's politics, right? And last but not least is, the bill has passed, but the struggle still remains. How could we change the narrative so young people are active in participating in Malaysia's democracy?
That's quite a few questions.
Quite wordy, but I think let's break it down to one by one. Okay.
I'm sure they can break it down.
I'm pretty sure they
they're
can
great
break it. Yeah,
speakers,
they're
kan?
great speakers. They're debaters. I mean, come on. What all habits die hard, right? Okay, let's go to the definition. For first level of argumentation, second level of argumentation.
Okay, let's hear it
all
all,
that
man.
stuff, right? Let's start with the first question. So why are you guys invested in advocating in young people, despite how inexperienced young people are in participating in democracy?
Kenapa youth? Kenapa?
Yeah, why specifically young people?
All right. Okay. So maybe I can try to answer this first, right? I think the most important. Sorry, just 1 second. Let me just do that thing again. Yeah, not too sure why my camera is just sort of off and on today, but no worries. I think for me the important element is that young people are the future, right? I mean, this is something that we can all agree on, and I think it's something that it's something that is undeniable, right? That if you want to build a country together, you want to build a nation that you are proud of, and you want to secure the future of your country together, you have to invest in youth, right? And if you value democracy, if you value that this is the system that we are to have better decision makings, we have to have better leadership, we have to have better policy making, then it starts by investing in our population, right? I think it's a bit difficult to invest in those who have become older. I mean, in my ideal world, we would also be investing, actively and equally into all generations. But I think it's just a logistics challenge, right? Older people, they've left the education sphere. Older people are perhaps no longer very interested in these arguments, right? And I think it's just basically a logistics challenge, which is why we do invest in young people, because fundamentally it is possible, right? I think that's one element. Number two is, of course, the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, that young people is the majority of people in this, or majority group in this country. We are a young nation. Our age, our median age is 28.6 years old, right? Which means that half the country, 50% of our population is below 28.6 years old, right? So
Uh-huh.
we're below 30, right? You know, the 50% of the country is below 30.
That's
You know,
wow.
vast majority of us are below 40. So when you look at that context, how can you not invest in the majority of people? And
Mm.
the idea of democracy itself is to have the majority of citizens, the majority of people within the system to participate, to be educated. I think that is what democracy is about. So I think that if you want to talk about Malaysia, you want to talk about our future, you can't run away from talking about the youth. And when you talk about the youth, you must invest, you must do the work, and you must put in the labor and effort and thinking into building this generation, if you care about this country that we share together. Yeah, thanks.
That's a really nice answer. And when you put into perspective, that is a lot of people, a lot of young people.
I actually have. This is the first time I didn't know that our median age is around 2.8, 28
20,
point.
28.6, right?
Uh,
28.6, yeah.
wow, that's a lot. So maksudnya okay, faham. I legit thought that like the median would be much more
Yeah,
older,
yeah,
like
yeah,
around
yeah.
35 and
25,
above.
yeah.
Tapi okay, this is a new fact and that makes a lot of sense. That is totally true.
Yeah, yeah,
We should be giving them a chance if they're more of a majority, but
Mm-hmm.
the older generation
The
can.
generation, right? But I think like something what I also like about young people, like, I think we can see today that they're very passionate in what they do, and they have things that they want to advocate, right? Like, so I feel like it's the right time, and feels the right time that we should start listening to their voices,
Giving them
right?
a chance as well. Maybe does Riff, you have anything to add to this question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think apa yang Tarma mentioned just now is like that's a reality. But somehow we need to realize that if we are not mulakan Undi 18 right now, people weren't aware that such political education is very important to the country. And if we didn't start the Undi
Betul
18 or
betul.
like 18 movement tak mula sekarang, we can't even see that, those who are 16, 17, 18 are brave enough to speak out. I realize that nowadays when Undi 18 implemented, ramai yang dah mulakan NGO sendiri, ramai yang dah try to speak up on social medias, people are trying to be brave, even though it's actually hard. But I think that's actually the cons lah. But I think the cons is actually what the youth are lacking of is actually the risk of doing something. By vocal on social media, tomorrow you might get caught by the IPD. By vocal on the streets, you might kena heret with Black Maria or something, because Tama and I experienced, we pernah kena tarik Black Maria, and Tama was like dia kena heret kot. Imagine like how strong the
I
police
see.
are sampai Tama
Is
kena
it?
angkat.
Are we
It's like
lagging?
so dramatic, guys. Yeah. It's like kind of new experience for us, but at the same time, like this is the reality of our country. If we tak start the only 18 right now, then people wouldn't talk about, kita takkan cakap tentang kepentingan, tentang political education, pendidikan tentang politics. Kita takkan aware that sebenarnya youth sekarang ni kurang orang kata input tentang politics dan sebagainya.
Betul 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 betul.
And if I may to add, like, you cannot just judge the only 18 implementation just by one PRN. Like what happened when they say like, only 18 sebenarnya buang masa je, sebab look at PRN Johor, only 3% of only 18 yang keluar.
Betul betul betul.
But if you just judge, only 18 experiments for like what, not even a year, and then you want to think
Mm-hmm.
about like, it's actually a waste of time, and then like, there's so many steps that we need to do, and the government should play a role of it, and then like everyone should play part of it, not just only 18 the NGO itself. Takkanlah diorang nak launch every month, undi 100 lah, and then next month like undi 500 lah, apalah, takkan they cannot do like that to gain their traction and like to give a political education. They cannot do that, for, untuk selama-lamanya. They also have their own agenda why they wanted to implement only 18. So like, what happened for the post only 18 is actually by the government to implement the political education. And we cannot just simply talk like, in schools, if you tulis tentang politics in karangan or essay, you are not allowed to do it because like it's a sensitive issues, and if you do, then you can potong half of your marks in your exams. So that's a reality. And this is something that we need to change, which is the students are allowed to talk about politics even at a young age of your life. You know, even your primary school, like secondary school, you're allowed to be part of politics. Even if you are in government school, if you decided that you want to go, you know, campaign for a political party, you are not allowed. And if your I mean, if your the headmasters of the school, I mean, if your principal tahu, then you boleh kenakan tindakan, or even you can get called by
Mm-hmm.
police itself. So yeah, that's what happened to me when SPM 2020, when the SPM was not in Indonesia, and then I decided to work with a few MPs at that time. And then when I have a talk with YB Dr. Mazli, and then the next day I kena panggil PPD because of they mentioned that, you know, you are still um, I mean, I don't really understand about laws because I'm not a lawyer. I think Tarma faham lah about laws juga since dia gerakkan Undi 18. He's technically a lawyer. I don't know why. You know, I feel like a lawyer though sometimes. But yeah, you know, it's like, awak termaktub dengan undang-undang sekolah and something. So awak tidak menyertai mana-mana parti politik. But then when I ask for evidence, they cannot give it. They just say like, you know, someone did a report of it. So it's like, but then I feel like macam, oh okay, this is actually the risk that I'm going to face, you know, not now, but also like in future. There's so many risks that I need to face off. So like yeah, sometimes, you know, when we are brave enough to speak up, you guys are brave enough to do a podcast. You know, we need to be ready of everything, the pros, the cons, you know, yeah, everything because nothing is easy, and it's going to be such a roller coaster. So yeah.
True. An arduous journey. You know, talking about political education, right? This reminds me back in school, right?
Okay.
In Sri
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That was cool.
Okay, this is so Sri If you guys don't know who Sri is Haziq and my apa ni?
Yeah, alumni of that
Yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah, we were alumni, right? So macam like we tried to implement the democratic system like in a way of like, you know, campaigning, voting,
In terms of like SRC lah.
and in terms of
FPP.
SRCA. Yeah. I still remember one of my friend who campaigned for a water dispenser. Sampai-sampai berini. Okay, tapi but something about political education is it's not there. It's just implemented. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Macam you know that you have to vote, but you really don't know the impact of your decision, right? Of how voting is. Because I feel like let's face it, political education has always been there, but it's just not fully diterapkan lah. It's not fully like discussed. It's not fully. It's just very based on the surface, right?
Dan in my opinion, berdasarkan apa yang Rif dengan Tarma cakap, memang apa pun kita nak buat pun, I feel like they're doing the right thing lah, which is starting with lowering the
Yeah,
age.
that's just the start.
Yeah, the start is macam, I think even if we were to start with anything else like having pushing for political education at a young age, it would go nowhere without Undi 18.
Yes.
They are definitely doing the right thing. This is I support them lah. Memang mantap lah. Lagi-lagi lah Rif dengan
tu lah
muda lagi
awak
start itu.
apa ni muda-muda lah kena panggil dengan MP lah, betul dengan masuk
Dengan PPD I'm like,
kan, like, I can't imagine that being at a young age.
yeah tu.
Yeah, but she's taking the first step, and I think it's a really important step that we have to push the boundaries.
Betul, these guys are the pioneers, man.
Yeah, it is the pioneers. We're just here for the ride.
Betul? We're lagging. Buka phone sekejap.
Is it another phone?
Nah, buka je, buka dulu. Okay,
Okay, so wait, okay, you guys can hear us, right?
Can no worries.
I think they can hear us. Okay.
we're lagging sikit.
We're lagging just like just now. All right. Okay. So I think they already covered much of the second question already.
Which is?
How important is youth representation in politics?
Okay, maybe we should repeat that. So macam tadi cakap, because we are majority.
Majority. And I think one thing that I think what someone tried to say also is to utilize views.
Okay.
Yeah, because like in a democracy, I think Tharma and Rif should know this because, you know, they've debated about democratic issues before, right? The important thing about democracy is to utilize as much views as possible to make decision making.
Betul? That's the
Yeah.
point of a democracy, isn't
That's
it?
the point of the
The
democracy.
voice of the rakyat lah.
The voice of the right. Yeah.
But how do we have the voice if there's nobody?
You're right.
Yeah.
Can. But I think we'll talk about democracy later in our second episode. We don't want to touch that yet. But how do you see in the future, like the impact of young people changing the political scape of Malaysia? Like, what can you see from the NGOs that are starting up by young people, the voices that are saying on social media by young people? What do you see? What future do you see seeing them in the political arena?
I think with a change in generations is a change of idealism, a change of priorities, a change of perspectives. I think that's the most important part, right? Because when you ask a question of generational change, you're not just talking about just changing ages, right? Because that's such a very simplistic way of looking at things. But it is fundamentally a change of priorities, because our grandparents' generation had a different economic system, a different political reality, different environmental and international relations reality. We have a very different reality. So I think that contributes towards our own fight and our own battle, and how that might change things, right? So I do think that that's one element that's very powerful and important, and why youth speaking up is important, because we do want to be able to shape the world that we live in to make sure that things are better. And how do you judge that things are better or worse? It's based on these metrics that I spoke about earlier, right? Because there are things that change, realities that change, and therefore our advocacy and our fight must change to reflect those new realities, right? So I think that's one element that's important. I do want to mention, however, right? I think the idea of having a youth movement and all that stuff is that I think two things, right? One is, not all young people are going to be amazing, transformative. This reality, right? Many young people do engage in old politics. Many young people do engage in upholding old norms, old systems, old structures, corruption, mismanagement. I think this is something that happens inevitably, right? So I think the question is that, how do you then, as a young person, advocate for change, especially when it's not just those who are before you that are resisting that change. It's also those people who are in your fellow generation, your same generation, who might be benefiting from status quo, benefiting from the current system. And how do you push against that? I think that's really the challenge that we also have to look at. I think the third thing that I also have to mention is that, especially when it comes to young activists and young advocacy, in terms of how we want to push forward for change, is that there is, I think, a growing chasm, right, in terms of those who are in urban centers, those who are more liberal, those who are more Western educated, or Western in terms of media that they consume, right, versus those who are more conservative, right? I think that's something I really want to mention, because we can't just assume that youth is progressive, youth is liberal, right? When you look at and when you talk to like members of PAS, members of UMNO, these are Bersatu members, these are millions or at least hundreds of thousands of young people who fundamentally want to change our country in a completely opposite direction, right? So I think that is also a real challenge that we must be very aware of, right? And not just assume, okay, young people means a force for good and young people means a force for change. It means that if you are in favor of one type of work, and you're in favor of making this shift happen in terms of progressive change, you have to do the work, right? Not just in terms of social media, not just in terms of I think talking about issues in a in a simplistic manner, but also engaging in work on the ground, advocating for change in terms of legislation, meeting members of parliament, becoming politicians yourselves, right? These are all things that matter, and I really hope that more young people will take up that challenge and not just feel, hey, you know what, I'm loud enough in one way, but you're not. I think often we lose track in terms of the bigger picture, right? So I do want to mention that when we discuss youth, we have to avoid the fallacy of imagining that youth is progress. That's not necessarily the case. We have to fight for progress, because things that are worth fighting for, that are good, are always worth fighting for, and the fight is always there, right? And that's a necessary element of life, right? So yeah, so I think that's the I guess just an overview a little bit of that idea.
Faham? I love his answer.
I know, right?
I'm like it's the type of answer that I would like just sit and think about for a while. So, okay, faham.
You know, that's technically what he did us in the last live we did with him.
Yeah, I couldn't say much because he was like, okay, just giving me so many inputs macam betul juga eh.
Tapi now when you get to like listen to him properly, right? Now you just get to like ponder around.
Yeah, no, I was gonna make me think for quite a few days. Like,
Jangan existential crisis pula, bro.
tak ada sampai sesekas pula. Tapi betul juga apa dia cakap tu. Like, betul. So that's the point of what you guys are fighting for now lah. You guys are still there out there, you know, trying to fight, and not just sebab dah pasal kan Undi 18, but then you guys are still out there trying to make sure that the progress is happening, rather than just assuming that okay, Undi 18 and then everything will go well. Faham? Betul?
But anyway, so let's talk through. Let's ask Rifayah a question. Like I think you're still in university, right, Rifayah?
Yes.
Did you often engage with political discussions with your course mates or with your lecturers, or with anybody?
Yeah, I think it's too early for me to involve it these things because everything is online currently. So we don't really have a political punya forum ke apa ke. I mean, we barely have that. Even right now, it's actually hard for us to give an open opinion regarding what's going on with the country. Or like, if we can't even mention, even I learn politics, you know. I have a subject tentang political science, but we can't, I mean, we are not allowed to mention any political party openly. You know, we cannot say that macam, oh, UMNO like this, you know, Anwar dengan Najib ni debate. We cannot just do a macam an open conclusion about it, but we can. It's just like we cannot nampak macam we are biased on one side. You know, we have to be neutral. You know.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not a healthy conversation. Well, it seems so, but I don't think it's actually a healthy conversation because you know we are not allowed to give our own opinion because what going on in the country. But I do realize that not everyone is actually really interested to be
Betul.
in politics because they feel like politics ni kotor and they feel like they don't even have a platform to speak out, or like maybe they don't even have a platform to, you know, express their feelings because, you know, kita dah tanamkan dalam fikiran like kalau anak muda join politics, you know, you yang akan susun kerusi, you yang akan yang akan, you know, sediakan skrip, jadi orang belakang lah apalah semua. So dengan mentality tu dan betul ialah reality. So right now, you know, with the implementation of Undi 18, we can slowly see that okay, ada calon muda yang bertanding dalam pilihan raya. But sometimes I feel like macam, you know, putting someone who are 18 years old, or like maybe putting someone who yang betul-betul muda bertanding dalam pilihan raya dah jadi macam satu competition, dah jadi macam satu racing. Parti mana yang hantar calon paling muda, dia lah menang. Parti mana yang hantar calon paling muda, dia lah dapat the credit, you know. So something that they can bangga of. I think that's actually a not healthy competition for us to fight, you know, without actually if dia, you know, dia tak layak tak apa, asalkan dia boleh bercakap and just letak that person for the sake of like, you know, nak dapatkan that duit lah. Because, you know, if you really betul-betul nak letak calon muda, make sure that it's actually a safe seat, make sure it's actually a seat that, you know, the president of the party itself will turun campaign for her or for him. You know, that's actually how it works, because obviously we don't have any political education, we lack of experiences, but doesn't mean that we don't have any opportunity, doesn't mean that we don't have the peluang or platform to be in the pilihan raya, you know, in future, or like maybe, I don't know. So I feel like macam right now, if you want to talk about change, what kind of change? I mean for Tarma, because of, you know, someone who like 20 plus, which is like someone yang dah ada experience more. Tarma, I'm not lawak, okay? I tak So please don't buat that face ah. I mean like some more for me. So I feel like macam the real question is like, does the older generation can accept us to be in the politics? That's a real question though. Does those yang dalam
Hmm.
barisan tertinggi, pimpinan sesebuah parti boleh accept orang yang lebih muda daripada mereka duduk dalam pimpinan,
Betul.
dalam pimpinan untuk berdiskusi tentang politik, untuk mendengar pendapat diorang. I think that's much more important because right now, I'm not saying that I puji YB Said, but I feel like YB Said is actually one of the MP yang betul-betul, walaupun dia dapat kedudukan kosong, tapi dia buat kerja dan try to fundraise. Everyone knows like, we cannot deny apa tanggungjawab yang dia dah buat dan juga apa yang dia dah buat, fundraising, the tenable challenge, banyak computer pun memang like, even my own friend yang B40 pun, dia, I mean she feel amazed lah dapat computer from a YB turun sini rumah and bagi computer, and she was like she can't even masuk kelas for more than half year, but then with the help of YB study she managed to do it. And yeah, it's amazing to see that kind of way. And so for me, going back to my point is like, does those yang lama dalam politics actually ready to accept a new generation, the new wave to be in a political party and to new wave to be in politics? Because right now we feel like, okay, we have so many forums about Undi 18. We have like, we are talking about we need a political education. We have like what the MPs, all semua president party will say that, okay, Undi 18 is actually a good thing, because it's already implemented. It's like, one way to buy a vote, by saying that is actually the younger generation will vote for them. It's actually macam tools. But before the implementation of Undi 18, who is actually the person behind of Undi 18 and work with Undi 18? That's a real question. Because right now we can see that everyone's agree with Undi 18. But Undi 18 dah implement. So what else that you can say, right? But doesn't mean that they are really genuine to, fight for Undi 18 and like the Undi 18 people be in his or her circle. So yeah, because that's the reason, like let's say if you decided to join one political party is already based in Malaysia for like more than decades, but then that, then you only be there sebab ia ada hierarchy di sendiri, sebab you baru masuk, so you jadi orang bawah. You baru masuk dan you just fusul guci pasal bendera. So I think like macam benda tu it's not healthy, because with the implementation of Undi 18, every political party dah buka ruang untuk bagi majlis, ada satu ruang dalam majlis pimpinan tertinggi tu daripada Undi 18 sendiri. Because doesn't mean that they are just, muda, they cannot talk and that they don't have, something, I mean yeah, doesn't mean that they are not good enough. So I feel like macam it's time to change lah. Yeah.
Start to change.
Faham.
Like
No.
at Tarma, I still remember like first time I jumpa
Sorry.
this time. I feel like, there's actually one day where like we are in office. That time I'm interning with Tarma and with only 80. And then like this one day, Tarma was like, I want to share with you guys a story. So kita orang pun macam
Whoa.
okay lah. Story Tarma cerita kan. So back then during the reason why I wanted to do this only 18 is because of back then I mean if I'm not mistaken you belajar in US, right? And then like you cerita like your friends not really interested in politics, but you actually macam we got so with Trump lah, and then it was like really into US with politics lah, apa lah. So that time macam you feel like, well, if you interested, they can vote for the country, but you are interested in politics, but you cannot vote for your own country. So I feel like macam right, I feel like okay, chill Tarma. You guys should see though Tarma cerita. It's like dia berdiri like this and he was like okay chill. But yeah, I feel like the semangat that Tarma and Kira has when they are really interested in politics, but then their friends are not, but their friends can vote for the country, but Tarma and Kira cannot. So I feel like macam it's worth it lah. But unfortunately Tarma, you're not Undi 18, so you dah tua.
He's fighting for what he wanted back then. And
Yes.
he's giving the opportunity to those that didn't have, that he didn't have.
Yeah.
Wow, best. Wow.
Wow.
And actually from hearing Rifai's point of view tadi kan, macam dapat dengar lah two sides. Tarma was talking about how, like the youth doesn't mean progress. But then Rifai also said that, well, even if the youth were to come, then will they accept? Betul tak?
Yeah,
Will
yeah,
the
yeah.
older generation accept? Betul. And basically saya suka dengar Rif talk about how Tarma is
Yeah, yeah,
before,
dia
behind the
baca.
scene lah, behind the scene. Sebab kita tengok kita tak nampak kat sini je. Tak
Ah,
tahulah Tarma macam mana before, kita dapat insight lah.
Tapi kan apa ni is it you know, based okay, like on us, right? This is the first episode I see you thinking a lot tau.
Biasanya aku macam mana?
You were like you have some response tau. You be like macam
Kau diam fikir
fikir diam, fikir.
Tak tahulah. Tak tahu. I like I don't know.
Yeah,
Kalian dapat fokus. I like this because
Yeah.
we are really nice speakers. I actually have a question for Rif.
Yeah.
Lupa dah soalan tu.
Aduh,
Tak ada, kita sambung. If I remember, what did she say just now?
What does he have to say about?
Oh yes, you mentioned about how macam older generation ataupun just generally our generation kan, kita macam fikir macam tak nak masuk politik sebab politik kotor macam tu kan. Do you disagree with that lah kan?
Yeah, I am. I mean like, I don't know with you guys, but I lahir je kita dah dibomokkan dengan case 1MDB. I mean
Okay.
like, since like we standard 1, we already dengar about 1MDB cases. Like that's the only thing that our grandparents or even our parents are going to talk about. So like, everyone knows that politics actually benda yang kotor. But yeah, that's the reason why we need Undi 18 to change that. Something that we don't want our future generation, diorang lahir-lahir je talk something like similar to 1MDB. Like how corruption is actually affected our country. So because right now I feel like macam my friends, they feel like by joining politics mesti akan terpalit dengan rasuah. Mesti akan, kita akan mula berjinak dengan tamak, rasuah ataupun rasa sifat bongkak. Benda tu happen automatically if you join politics. But I feel like the thing with our country, why the older generation feels like because they're already lama dalam takut pemerintahan. Well, actually, right now if we are talking about Undi 18, we wanted lebih ramai anak muda. It's actually a legit question if you wanted to ask why we tak ada tempoh berkhidmat ataupun tempoh seseorang tu menjadi untuk menjadi seseorang tu jadi ahli parlimen.
Betul.
So let's say like it's like when you're already 60, then that's it. Or like, if like dah 3 kali dah, you cannot continue. Or like, macam there's a limit to it. Or like limitkan umur untuk menjadi seorang menteri, or like limitkan umur untuk someone to contest in PRU. But we cannot simply put an age untuk orang jadi. Let's say if dia bagus, then yes, like let's say if like Dato' Anwar Ibrahim, who else is going to be president of Parti Keadilan right now if everyone's yakin dan 100% percaya bahawa he is the only one that can lead PKR dan juga Eksekutif Pembangkang. So same goes to like YB Saidi, he is a president of Parti
Muda.
Ikatan Rakyat Muda. So let's say it's like upcoming 20 years, pada like 20 tahun akan datang, like 30 years akan datang, is he going to step down and give the chair to someone yang lebih layak, or like he is going to continue as president? So benda-benda tu semua macam I feel like with the implementation of Undi 18, but at the same time we need to put a limit. But yeah, it's actually a long discussion. It's like not something that we need to rush on. But I feel like macam sometimes politics is not just about fighting for our rights, to abolish law or like to implement something. Politics is about everything, about someone's health, about someone's safety. How we're gonna feel like we actually feel safe in schools, when there's a lot of other things that we need to look up. Like for example, like in schools, I tak pernah rasa safe untuk pergi sekolah because I feel like all the teachers macam sometimes they make their own rules. Like even Tarma pernah share like during the punya sekolah, the teachers make siapa yang boleh buat denda yang paling baru, yang paling menarik, dia lah. Macam dia every teacher nak buat denda yang paling baru, yang paling menarik. So it's like dia lah champion kan. Benda baru. But yeah, we don't have like macam a standardized denda ataupun a standardized macam tindakan dekat sekolah. Let's say esok I ponteng sekolah, so ada sekolah yang bagi surat amaran, ada sekolah yang buang dari sekolah, kan? Kita tak ada satu standardized peraturan dekat sekolah. Even in school, some school they can bring their phones, some school they cannot. Some school they are allowed if you are wearing a white shoes. Some school like you must and you need to wear black shoes. So I feel like macam, all those small things actually affected the students. Even some school they are not really amplify democratic ways of choosing the leaders. So let's say it's like, kita ada undi, orang mengundi untuk ketua pelajar lah apalah semua. But then it's not that genuine. It's not that you cannot see
Betul.
transparency of it. You tak tahu berapa banyak undi orang mengundi, siapa yang mengundi, and then you cannot even mention that, because at the end of the day it's actually a principal's punya the decision is actually dekat tangan principal. Principal can just reject it and just like tukar some the count. Or like maybe like if the student say like, oh, let's say if I nak like Haziq jadi ketua pelajar, but then I was like, if everyone was like, oh, I want Haziq as our ketua pelajar, but then if the teacher say no, there is no. Ada sekolah yang tak mengamalkan proses pengundian pun. Ada sekolah yang
faham. I can totally agree with that.
It's like, kalau kau like the teachers feel like macam, okay, kalau kau boleh dengar arahan aku, then you are going to be a leader. It doesn't mean that how good you are in leadership, but if you can listen to whatever that instruction or like whatever the arahan I give you, then automatically you are the person in the school. So that's the reality. Even in my own school, we don't really have a voting system. It's just like siapa yang boleh patuh dengan arahan sekolah dan tak melawan, kau lah jadi ketua pelajar. Because that's the reason why I dapat jawatan. I just letak jawatan within 24 hours. So because I feel like it's very not really genuine, because I feel like not cakap I better, but the position that I get is actually really really pelik. I dapat head of library, which is I tak pernah jejak pun library kat sekolah.
Kau ada buku ni.
I need to be a head of library so that I can give a new idea, so that
Tapi
I can.
disebabkan cikgu rasa yang you layak.
No, because like the voting punya count is different. The voting is like I dapat second highest, but then I tak dapat jadi the second highest position because the teachers feel that I takkan dengar apa yang sekolah kata, I akan melawan, so they don't want to face that. Even the one yang dapat highest tu pun tak jadi ketua pelajar sebab dia rasa macam kita orang akan melawan. So both of us decided to step down lah esok harinya. Yeah. So we create a history actually. Like within 24 hours we decided to step down. So it's like But it is what it is. We don't want to bekerja dengan someone yang is not genuine to letak. It is not.
Betul.
It's not that we feel that we are better, but if it is how the school thinks, then it's not as well. So it's like we just step down. Yeah.
You know what? Rifayah, this actually reminds me of a story. Back in my days, when I was in high school. So it's interesting because in our school, Haziq, the student representative council, we get to choose who is the leader tau. But for the pengawas, we never got to choose.
Betul? Pengawas berdasarkan cikgu kan?
No, dia bukan berdasarkan cikgu, we have to go through an interview. Yeah, we have to go through an interview and see what's your ideas about the pengawas and everything. Kan? So like, it's interesting that like if we compare to all schools kan, like okay, so I'm going a bit far on that point. Okay, but back to the story. Macam what I'm trying to say is that the democratic system, like we're trying to put in school, macam tak, it's what Rifayah said lah. Macam it's based on the higher ups, right? Based on the higher ups, and I actually have another story to tell, tapi I terlupa nak cakap apa.
Tak apa, it's okay. Cukup.
Cukup
Kita berhentikan cerita dekat situ.
Aduh, there's so many things to talk about because these now you guys are triggering me a lot of memories back in high school.
Wow. Okay, kita dah start macam masuk into that realm of democracy. What democracy is, why democracy maybe is imperfect, why it is.
Should I Dharma punya life masa zaman sekolah tu? Sekolah.
You know what?
Dharma punya batch. Alah batch yang pernah, okay tak pernah. Let Dharma.
Yang tu kita discuss hari lain lah kan.
Okay. Tak terkuasa ni.
Hari lain lah.
20 minit ni. Kita boleh
Okay.
sambung next question pun.
Okay, I think we've kind of already asked the last question already.
Yeah, we've heard a lot. The part of the struggle remains how to change the narrative so that people are depressed.
I think we've already talked about the narrative already based on Tarma and Rifayah,
Which is?
which is like, I mean, when you recap,
You recap lah.
you recap lah.
Tak apa, I was a bit too focused on
Come on, man. This is your time to shine, bro. You don't look. Come on.
Cepatlah buat lah. You the debater here.
Okay lah. I'm the debater here. Okay, I'm the third speaker. Yelah. Okay, okay. One try to say. Okay, so, right. So basically, what Tharma tried to say lah. Okay, the narrative is that macam young people doesn't literally mean change.
Oh, that's the
Yeah,
narrative.
that's the first narrative. Okay, we think that reality that young people are in the Malaysian context, they're still trying. They're still new to these things, right? Cuma, you cannot expect things will happen quickly.
Betul.
I think that's why a lot of people think that instant change is always good. However, like that's not true. Like democracy, you have to also think that it takes time for a country to change, but like into having good governance, having good representation, right? And I think that the idea of like saying that progress is more important that should be the narrative lah, right? And Rifai's questions also like should be accepted as well, because in the sense that there is a need for the older generations
To accept
our diversity, the plurality that we have. Are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
You're thinking deep.
I'm just listening.
No, this is the first time, like legit. Like this is the first time I've seen you think so deeply in
I
an
think it's because
episode.
you're next to me, kot.
I don't know.
Aduh.
Okay.
Do you have anything to say about it? What's your opinion on macam anything to add lah? Macam daripada Tarma and Rifai cakap about the current narrative about how now the bill has passed, now what? Ada lagi tak? You any opinion?
My opinion is just likely just just start implementing. I think this is the time where Thumber is gonna introduce Undi 100%.
Sure, I can do that. Yeah, I hope my voice is clear. I finally managed to connect the buds, the earbuds to the camera. So I hope it's clear. All right. So right now we're running a program called Undi 100%, where we're trying to get change makers from across Malaysia to be able to engage in conversations, programs, events, forums, whatever it is you want to do on democracy, on voter education, because we believe that each of us have our own circle of influence, right? Each of us has our own friend list, our classmates, our colleagues, and it's something that I may not be able to impact because I'm detached from someone in Kedah or someone in Sarawak or someone in Kelantan, right? But someone who's listening out there might be better suited to do it. So I think the idea is that how do we leverage different networks and build this greater web of individuals who are interested in change, interested in democracy. Yeah, so I think that part is important. But going forward, I think the most important part is that I hope that more young Malaysians become more engaged with our democratic process. Don't retreat, right? I know sometimes democracy and politics is messy, it is dirty, it is disappointing. But when you retreat, people who benefit from the dirtiness, who benefit from the mess, they are the ones who prosper. So essentially, we have to fight more, not retreat. We have to push harder and not give up. So I think that's the key message that we believe in, and we hope that more young people also believe in that idealism and fight together with us. Yeah.
I really see these two, these people as like warriors on a battlefield fighting.
Yeah, we were playing our part as well, man.
Really?
Yeah, we are playing our part.
How?
Yeah, we are giving them a voice to share their opinions. We are literally giving, voices to our guests to talk about what they believe in.
Okay, yeah. Betul.
Yeah.
Okay, betul. I respect that.
Yeah, obviously these guys have done more things than us, right?
Okay.
I mean, in terms of achievements, but we cannot really compare of how we went through in each progress of getting to where we are today, right?
Betul juga dia cakap tu. Kalau kita orang retreat, if back to macam what Rif said lah, people think that macam politics is dirty, and then they decide to stay out of it. But then when you stay out of it, people that benefit are the people yang playing dirty dah tak?
I mean, I mean, to be fair, all industries have their dirty parts. Cuma politics is just very highlighted lah. Yeah.
If we're gonna keep it dirty, if we stay out of it, we have to do something about it.
We have to do something about it. So in some sense, yeah, we do have somewhat a responsibility as young people and also as Malaysians to also push forward and change the narrative. Of course, like both of them said, it's going to take a while. It's going to take some time, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't stop the fight. The fight shall continue, and we should always persevere to know that there's always hope at the end of the bridge.
Okay.
I don't know where the bridge came from, but yes, it's there.
We're building the bridge.
Okay, we're building that bridge. We're building that bridge. Yeah. Okay. So honestly, this has been a very, very interesting discussion of questions. Rhetorical questions that have been asked. Never.
I'm quite glad that I actually could understand everything.
Okay, but yeah, fun fact. Between me and you, you're a bit less.
I'm less informed in politics lah, democracy, politics semua tu macam I get the gist of it, just the small gist, tapi macam Haikal lagi faham lah.
Yeah.
You guys will talk more deeper into what they know, what you guys know.
Yeah.
Tapi so this time I'm quite happy that I got to faham semua benda and I got to reply and ask question also. So best juga lah.
But honestly, then again, thanks again, Tharma Pillai and Rifayah for coming on. And we would love to collaborate with you guys anytime soon in the near future. If you guys need a DJ, you can ask. Yeah. If you guys need a DJ, you can always offer us. If you guys maybe we could intern them with them,
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Tak tahu.
We'll see what happens in the future, kan? Right? But yeah, then again, before we end, do you have any last words to say to our viewers? Any last words?
I think I finished up just now. I think I'm good. I'll just pass it to Rifayah if she has anything else she wants to say.
I think don't give up. Just do whatever that you want. Just remember that everything is actually comes by risk, pros and cons. It's not that something is tomorrow if you decided to talk about Undi 18 and then everything is going to be smoothly ke apa ke. No, that's not going to happen. Please bear in mind that everything comes with circumstances and don't give up. Try to explore as many as you can. Keluar daripada zone, safe zone. Cuba benda baru, build networking, build as many as connection that you can, wider your connection, because I feel like benda tu yang paling penting. So I involved in Undi 18, I learned a lot. I met a lot of new people. I met some people that I rasa macam wow, I wish that I met him or her much more earlier kan. But yeah, I think that's something yang macam whatever it is, try, don't be afraid, go explore as many as you can, join je pada kalau ada event ke apa, if you are not really interested with the event, just join for the sake of knowledge and for the sake of for the people. Don't rasa malu, don't feel afraid. Just if you feel like you want to be part of something, just DM them. I think when I'm interning with Undi 18, I receive a lot of DM people asking how we wanted to contribute to Undi 18. Is Undi 18 can support us with this and that. I feel like Undi 18 is actually a platform that the youth can discover and can use Undi 18 as their platform as well, to promote their NGOs. And I feel like, by having Tarma and Kira as your mentors, it's going to be, you're going to change your life, because not just you learn how to masuk ke IPD, but also you learn how to survive in the real world. Because apa yang I belajar in politics is actually totally different what you actually going through in right now. Because kita selalu belajar benda baik. Kita obviously we tak pernah belajar benda yang buruk, but that's a reality though. Our country is full of corruptions. Our country full of people who are really tamak jawatan or something. But that is something that we need to change off. And if without, kalau bukan kita siapa lagi kan? If not us, then who else? So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you guys for having me and Karma. I'm really sorry if there's something yang macam salah kata ke apa ke, but yeah, thank you guys.
No problem. First of
All of your inputs were great.
Yeah.
As well.
yeah, we hope that these questions and these answers will help you guys think and have a better, clearer understanding of what where Undi 18 is all about, and also about democracy in some way. But of course, this is the first episode only. We didn't touch upon what the democratic system in Malaysia is like, right? So if you guys are still interested in continuing the series, remember to watch our second episode next week, Thursday, as we will invite Adam Adli and Daniel to talk about what's up with Malaysian democracy. And to spice things up a bit, right? If you have any questions or you have anything that you want to discuss on that episode itself, feel free to put down in the comments, because we might as well ask that question to discuss during the episode.
Betul.
Mhm.
To ask you, we'll say lah, credit to this guy because he said this. Give your name also lah.
What? Who?
Tak, nanti kita tanya soalan, nanti cakap
Oh yeah,
okay,
we can
so
go.
I
Yeah,
kata
because
dia
we're
ni.
going to name lah, of course.
Nanti
Definitely.
jangan lupa ajak member sekali.
Jangan
Kita
member.
okay.
Kita nak buat lawak pun tak apa. You can do all those things, right? Okay. So without further ado, thank you guys for listening to our Jom Ah Lepak. You can follow us at Jom Ah Lepak on Instagram and Facebook, and you can follow Haziq at Hazikado that's on Instagram.
Okay.
And you can follow me as I'm Haikal as SYDAMI as Haikal.
Okay.
And you can follow Nurul Rifayah where?
Yeah, you can follow me Nurul Rifayah on Instagram.
Instagram, nice. Okay, cool. And then you can follow Undi 18 at, of course, well, the name says itself. You can just switch it up, right?
Along with his own private, his personal idea dia.
I mean, he has his personal IG, but I'm not sure you want to promote it though.
No worries, I'm okay. I mean, so I have all my social media, which is at Tharmapillai, THRMAPILLAI, on all platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, maybe not Facebook. Facebook, I don't use Facebook, but the other three, I do put in some stuff once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, like, follow, and subscribe. Is it Tharma?
Like, follow, subscribe, and don't remember to put on that notification bell. Right. Betul. Oh my god. We're moving to become YouTubers, man.
I don't know. Sure.
Maybe. Soon, maybe. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you.